If you've never played golf before or been around the sport, it can be intimidating. When you walk into a golf store, you may feel stress. There's so many items. What should you purchase? Why do things come in so many variations? And wow, they can be so expensive. Even the smallest items like balls and gloves can be way pricey. And when you finally rounded up all the basics, you'll probably start wondering whether you need more stuff, like a rain suit, rangefinder, special umbrella, maybe even a push cart. How can one sport require so much equipment? But please don't become overwhelmed. You don't need that much stuff you see at a golf store. And when starting out in the sport, items that may be beneficial can be secondhand or of the cheapest variety. You're not playing in the US Open. You don't need the top of the line equipment. You should enjoy the game without worrying about taking out a loan. At the onset, a great and affordable way to get into golf is by going to a par 3 course or your local driving range or Topgolf. A medium bucket of balls rarely costs that much, and most ranges will have clubs that you can use for free. Take advantage of it all to get a feel for the golf swing. Make note of the kinds of clubs you like, and if there's a PGA professional available, take a lesson. You'll be surprised at how much you learn. Any conversation about golf equipment must start with clubs. The maximum number you're allowed to carry at one time is 14, but you don't need that many to start. I suggest you begin with a half set designed specifically for beginners. Something like a driver and a set of 5 irons, like a 5, 7, 9, plus 2 wedges, and of course additionally a putter. 7 clubs will get you going nicely. As you play more and more, you might find gaps between these clubs frustrating. And if that happens, you'll be ready to buy more. Once you gain experience and are ready to look for your first full set, it's important to know that you don't have to instantly go for the new products. Possibly you'll know someone who will loan you a full set, and there's a great second-hand market. Manufacturers produce new versions every year, so clubs that are 1, 2, or even 3 years old are still very good and come at a fraction of the price. My experience is that a beginner's first full set is beneficial only for a couple of months, and then they'll begin to understand what feels best, and often they want something different. So don't spend too much money on something that likely will have a short life. Used clubs can be found on eBay, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, 3balls.com, globalgolf.com, and secondswing.com. The most important thing for you to be aware of is that these clubs have probably been custom fit for someone with different specifications than you. If you are an average height golfer, you don't want to pick up a used set made for someone 6'7". Secondhand sellers should let you know if a club is longer, shorter, or if it's had a lie angle or shaft flex extended beyond standard. So keep an eye out. You can easily spend $2,500 plus on a new set of sticks, but I never recommend it for beginner golfers. You should start with 7 clubs and build your set over time. Experiment. You don't need to buy 14 clubs at once. When you do make the plunge into purchasing new clubs, be certain to get fitted and ask for a demo and loaner clubs so you can guard against buying something that you might regret. A driver, which is known as a one metal, is the club you'll usually use to tee off on par 4s and par 5s. It's the longest both in overall physical length and in distance hit. You typically tee up your ball high. It has a large head and a graphite shaft. And if you're going to buy a new one with a brand name, it will have an equally large price, like $500 or more. There's no need to buy the driver model that was just released this year. If you purchase one that's a couple of years old, you'll save hundreds of dollars, and you still will get high-end technology and performance. The one item I found that's often overlooked by players is the driver shaft. This is a critical component of how a club will perform. When you buy a driver, you have shaft options: stiff, regular, flexible, senior, or ladies. The correct shaft for you depends on how hard you swing. A club fitter or good salesperson can help you find the right one. Don't make a mistake by getting the wrong shaft, because it will prevent you from hitting the ball straight. Like drivers, your irons should be second-hand. As indicated, starting out, you only need a partial set of something like every other club. Try to find a game improvement version with a cavity back for the biggest sweet spot and consequently the largest margin of error. They'll provide the most enjoyment. Forged irons, like those used by many tour pros, have too small of a sweet spot, and frankly, they're too difficult to hit unless you're an advanced player who practices a good bit. Each iron has a different loft and length, such that the longer clubs with less loft will hit the ball further. If you're going to get an adjustment made, I suggest you have the lie angle of the iron fitted for you. If it's too flat or too upright, it could send the ball offline every time. As a beginner, you may want to look for a set that includes hybrids for longer shots. They're a combination of fairway metals and irons, and many amateurs at all levels find them easier to hit than, say, a 4 or 5 iron. While your driver will almost always have a graphite shaft, the most chosen shaft for irons is steel. It's stronger and heavier than graphite, meaning it produces less flex and is more consistent and accurate when taking divots and moving through the ground. The steel used in shafts is thick and offers consistent torque, allowing you to have the same flex and stiffness in your 4 iron as you do in your 9 iron. The highly durable nature of steel makes it a popular choice for irons. Before you spend a lot of money on a set of irons though, I suggest you take a lesson and get feedback on whether timing of such an investment is appropriate. The easiest way to describe a fairway metal is to say it's a small driver that's a little shorter and more loft. It's designed to hit balls off the ground. It's sleek and slides through the hitting area without digging. It usually has a graphite shaft, and you use it for long approach shots into the green. The most common fairway metal is a 3 metal, and it typically has between 15 and 17 degrees of loft. You also see 4 metals, 5 metals, and 7 metals while shopping. As you start to play and build your set, I recommend you only buy one fairway metal, a 3 or a 4. As you play more though, you may want a second one. There's no reason to buy more than one initially. If you're looking to buy a new fairway metal, be certain to go to the driving range where you can demo one. It's the most common purchase where buyers develop remorse. It's often rejected by purchasers after only a few shots on the course because it's too heavy or too light or sends the ball offline. So be certain you like it and it offers a quality performance before jumping into an investment. Finally, you may want a brand of fairway metal to match your driver, but that is not necessary. You'll need a putter from the onset, and putting is super important. About 45% of your shots will be with this club. Putters are offered in numerous shapes and sizes, but at the end of the day, you simply need one that feels good to you and allows you to roll the ball smoothly into the hole. Again, a used one will work fine. Some players believe a putter is an animate object that's temperamental and sometimes misbehaves. They talk to it, praising it when it performs well and discipline it when things don't go as planned. I've seen golfers place their putter in a closet for weeks at a time as punishment. I even know one who incredibly attached his putter to a line on the back of his car and drug it home, which definitely was a little too harsh and a little bit strange. When you do reach a point to buy a new putter, here are some tips. Make sure your putter is the correct length. You need to get in putting position and have someone measure length. Most putters off the shelf are 34 or 35 inches long. Statistics show, though, that on average, male golfers should use one between 32 and 34 inches, and the average female between 30 and 33 inches. Choose a head shape that's pleasing to your eye and offers forgiveness. A blade is relatively narrow from the face to back, and generally is the least forgiving. Unless you are an experienced player, you should stay away from the blade. The mid-mallet has a flange or weight positioned further back from the face to move the center of gravity backwards. This increases the moment of inertia involving the toe-heel axis and makes the style more forgiving than the blade. The full mallet has much more of the weight as far back as possible away from the face, either directly behind the face or splitting the weight to the 2 back corners of the head. Splitting weights tends to optimize moment of inertia. Just quickly, moment of inertia in putting is the measure of a club head's resistance to twisting when a ball is struck away from the sweet spots. I recommend that you start your putting consideration process with a mallet, as it has fewer potential sources of error and it's just more forgiving. Be sure to get with the fitter to give you one that matches the arc or lack of arc in your putting movement. As you advance your putting ability, you need to deal with putter loft, lie angle, weight, grip size, and whether the head lies flat on the ground. Getting fit for a putter and really all other clubs is super important. When getting started with golf, the first rule of buying golf balls is quantity over quality. You'll purchase lots of them, but unfortunately, you may not own them for long. Your initial rounds of golf will most likely involve balls in lakes, creeks, woods, and yards of strangers. But be patient. You soon will start to lose fewer of them. Top-end golf balls keep going up in cost, and now a dozen is around $60. So you don't want to lose $5 every time you hit an offline shot. For beginners, the performance of a golf ball doesn't really make a difference. You should go with the lowest cost brand or buy used ones. And the good news is there are plenty of options. Regarding golf gloves, I suggest you try playing without one. They can become hot and wet from sweat on your hand, and they're expensive, from $12 to $25. Fred Couples played quite well without a glove during his long career, so you should try to do the same. If it doesn't work out and the club slips out of your hand, then you can experiment with a glove. They're designed for traction, and they can help certain players avoid twisting of the grips. Remember, you wear a golf glove on the opposite hand to the way you play. So if you're right-handed, wear a glove on the left hand, and vice versa for left-handers. There are a good number of options in the glove market, from cheaper synthetic gloves to full leather ones. If you're just starting out, a synthetic version will certainly do the trick. But as I said, don't jump on straight to a glove, as you may not need one. You can use a golf bag for years, so this is one area you shouldn't worry about making a bit of an investment. The type of bag you buy should match the way you get around the course, either in a cart or walking. A stand bag is the easiest and most basic option to get started with walking the course. It comes with 2 straps so you can carry it on your back, and it stands up on its own when you put it down. By contrast, cart bags are a bit bulkier, but they have larger compartments for storage and usually are a lot more durable. Think about whether you plan to ride or walk the course when making your golf bag decision. If you're just starting out at the driving range, a sneaker or running shoe will do the job. You won't need a specialized golf shoe until you venture out onto the course. Once you're on the course and hitting off varying lies, you'll need the performance and comfort benefits that come from a good golf shoe. And like everything else, you have options. Spikeless shoes are good in the summer and sometimes come comfortable to wear in public off the golf course. Alternatively, you could go for spike shoes that have soft cleats and provide a bit more traction and have more of a traditional look. Modern golf shoes come in a lot of different designs, textures, and colors. It's just a question of what's comfortable and figuring out how much you want to spend. Variety is so large that whatever your budget, there'll be a model for you. In terms of apparel, as you start out, you'll probably wear a smart pair of pants or shorts and a polo shirt. If you're going to a higher-end golf course, make sure you wear a collared shirt and then it's tucked into your pants or shorts. As with everything golf-related, as you play more and get better, you'll want clothing that's more golf-specific. There are plenty of performance benefits from proper apparel. For instance, moisture-wicking polos keep you cool, and technology-based jackets keep you warm and dry in inclement weather. Tees will cost you very little, and you'll find some courses even offer them for free. Longer tees should be used for driver shots, and shorter ones for hitting irons on par 3s. Ball marks can involve use of a coin or your favorite poker chip. Once your ball has reached the green, you should mark it and clean it until it is your turn to putt. Bag rain hoods can be used when a rain shower pops up. Don't let your clubs get wet. Invest in one that is designed to fit your golf bag. Valuable pouches can be clipped to your bag and used to carry your keys, wallet, cell phone, etc. Pitch mark repair tools are designed to take care of the course. When your ball hits the green, it will leave a mark. Use these tools to fix the blemish, or alternatively, if you don't have one, you can use a tee. There's nothing worse for a golfer in the group behind you than putting on an uneven surface. Repairing these indentions helps others and keeps the course in good condition. See our segment on golf etiquette for how to use a repair tool. Golf towels are used to keep your hands dry or to clean dirt off of your ball. I usually keep 2 of them on my bag, one for cleaning the ball and clubs, and the other for wiping sweat from my face and arms. Sunscreen is designed to keep you safe. Don't let your day be ruined by a bad burn. There's more that can be said on what and where to buy as you develop as a golfer. So please continue to follow our website explanations for beginner, intermediate, and advanced players. Also, we have a comprehensive slide deck that you can review on golf equipment. We don't dive deeply into individual swing mechanics because we believe it's best left to you and your PGA professional. We do, however, review swing theories and analyze what makes them work. While experienced players use different approaches, it's usually beneficial for beginning golfers to start out with the same way, emphasizing the fundamentals. So I'll give you the approach I was taught, which I believe still works well for someone just taking up the sport. It's 5 steps: hand set, feet set, body posture, and then swinging slow back, faster through with your natural tendencies, and then holding your finish. If you follow that 5-step sequence at your initial visits to the range, or even when hitting wiffle balls in your yard, you'll establish the foundation for a good swing. Now let's go through each of those 5 steps. So now let's talk about how to get your hands set on the club. And what I mean by that is getting a proper grip. So how do we do that? So if you're a right-handed player, grab a 7-iron and stand up and just let it hang naturally to the left side of your body to where the club is soled perfectly to the ground. You're just naturally grabbing the club. Now if you take a look at how am I gripping this with my left hand, if I open this up, we want to have the club run diagonally up through the fingers of our left hand. Really important to get it in our fingers. The tendency is to want to get it in a palm. We want it in our fingers. And then from there, we're going to turn our left hand to the right. Turn it to the right to where we can see 2.5 to 3 knuckles in that left hand, and the V that's formed between my left thumb and left pointer finger is pointing between my right ear and right shoulder. So now we have that left hand on there perfectly. So how do we bring that trail hand on? We're going to bring it in from the side. Same thing, we're going to be focused on gripping it in the fingers, not in the palm. And then once we add it on there, this V that's formed between these 2 fingers is going to point to the same place between this right ear and right shoulder. Now we have a very neutral grip. Now this is a great place to start as a beginner. It's just a neutral grip to where it's going to lead to really good control of the club face. Now there's different variations that you can have when I pull it up here. This is an overlapping grip. As you can see, I overlap my right pinky over my left pointer finger. Now, this is the most popular grip on tour. It's a really great place to start, but if your hands are a little bit smaller, it can be harder to do this grip. So if your hand's a little smaller, I'd focus on the interlock grip, where you interlock the right pinky and left pointer fingers. Now, this famously was a grip used by Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus, 2 greatest players of all time. So it could be a good place to start. And then lastly, you could experiment with a 10-finger grip. Now this is really good if you are struggling with a little bit of strength, maybe a little bit of an older player. This is going to give you a lot more strength. As far as how hard you want to grip the club, if 0 is extremely light, 10 is really strong, we want to be at about a 4 out of 10. There's an old adage in golf where you talk about pretending you're holding a bird. And you want to be able to hold the bird and where it doesn't fly away, so tightly enough for that, but not too tight to where you're going to keep that bird from being able to breathe. So really focusing on a 4 out of 10, or like you're holding a bird in those hands. Now, like I said, this is a very good neutral grip. We encourage you to take a look at our videos on swing theory and fundamentals as we talk about different types of grips. But just to touch on those really quickly, the main difference, this is a neutral grip we walked through today. A strong grip would be if we turn both of our hands to the right. Now this is going to lead to a more closed, stronger club face, lead to a lower ball flight. As a beginner golfer, if you're going to err, I would err on a little bit of a stronger grip. A little more to the right, but neutral, wonderful place to start. Now a weak grip would be if we point everything more to the left, to where this V is pointing more to my left shoulder. This is going to lead to a more open face and a higher ball flight. So we definitely want to avoid that as a beginning golfer. We want to start with neutral, which would be 2.5 to 3 knuckles in this left hand, V pointing to my right shoulder between the ear, or slightly stronger than that. So this is a great place to start, a big neutral grip as a beginner golfer, but feel free to check out our other videos. So now that we talked about getting our hand set, we got a good grip. Now let's talk about getting our feet set, which means getting into a good stance. So how do we do that? Well, alignment is extremely important. So if we look down this hole, we obviously want to hit it down the middle of the fairway. What I want you to envision is a railroad track going down the middle of this fairway. So there's two lines. We got a right line and a left line. Now, in golf, think about that right line as being the track of the golf ball. That's where we want the golf ball to fly. And then the left line on that railroad track is where we want our feet, knees, hips, and shoulders to be lined up. So parallel left. We don't want to be pointing directly where we want the ball to go with our body. We want it to be parallel left. So how do we do that? Well, the easiest thing to do is put a golf club on the ground to represent the left side of that railroad track, as I have here. Then all we need to do is step in with our feet, make sure our feet are parallel to that golf club, and then we work our way up. We go knees, hips, and shoulders are all parallel. Now, our feet are set. We're in a really good spot. But what do we do about the golf ball? Where does it go in relation to our body? It's much more simple than you might think. I want you to focus on having the golf ball, if you drew a line up through your body on the logo of your shirt. You can see I have a logo here. Most shirts have a logo. If not, you can think about the center of your heart. That's where we want the ball position to be on all shots with our irons. Now, it's an illusion because with a wedge, when our feet are closer together because it's a shorter club, it's going to look like the ball's further back. And then when I move out to a 7-iron, it looks like it's further forward. But if you draw a line up, it's going to be focused right on the logo of the shirt. The only thing that changes is the width of my stance. Now, the only difference is with the driver. With the driver, we're going to push that up to be roughly on my left armpit if you're a right-hander, because with the driver, ball's on the tee, we're going to be hitting up on it. So that's how you get your feet set correctly in the proper ball position. Now, let's talk about body posture. Arguably the most important part of the golf swing. No one has ever gotten worse in golf by setting up to the ball better. So how do we get our body in the proper position? The best way that I've come across in my 2 decades of playing golf is a small little sequence of events. So if I turn to the left here, just going to hang, stand up straight, normal, club in the left hand. I'm going to lean forward like I'm leaning over my legs until I feel a pull in my hamstrings. Now from there, widen out the feet, about shoulder width apart, stick the butt out, bend the knees slightly to where the pressure is in the middle of our feet. Now, we want to feel a little bit of pull in with our abs. We want our lower back to be flat. We don't want it to be arched, and we don't want it to be turned in too much. So we want it to be roughly flat, but we want to feel relaxed in our shoulders and in our body. So that's how we get into the proper body posture in the golf swing. Now that we've touched on the fundamentals, how to set up, how do we then begin to think about how to swing the club? Well, that's the key word there, swing. It's a golf swing. We want to let this club move and swing naturally. Now, the best way I've come around to make that happen is if you think about how would you throw a ball. I'm sure you've played some other sports in your life. If you think about how would I throw a ball from this setup position that we've just put ourselves into. So I'm holding this ball here. How am I going to throw this ball in front of me or down the fairway? Well, what it's going to require is it's going to require a swing back, a move into your trail side, and then you're going to move back to your lead side, and then you're going to throw and finish in balance. So that's what we want you to focus on, being an athlete, letting your own personal personality come through here. So we're going to focus on letting the club swing back, move to the right, move to the left, and then finish in a good, balanced finish. Now the last fundamental we're going to touch on here is holding your follow through. Now it sounds simple, but it's extremely important because it's going to teach you a few different things in the swing. One, it's going to teach you balance, and two, it's going to teach you how to build speed at the right time in your golf swing. You hear announcers on tour all the time talking about how much speed these guys are generating and creating. You cannot force this speed. You want to be able to generate it at the ball, then we want to be able to finish in a perfect, balanced finish, and you want to be able to hold it until that ball lands on the ground. No matter what you're hitting, a wedge, driver, 3-wood, you want to be able to hold that finish until the ball lands, and it's going to teach you a lot of great things. Now, in summary, we've walked through the 5 fundamentals of a great golf swing. Which are getting the hands right, we're getting a good grip, we're getting our feet set, proper alignment, getting a good body posture. We talked about the fundamentals of how to start swinging the club and think through how we want to be athletic, and we want to focus on holding our finish until that ball lands to teach balance, rhythm, and speed. Now, I would encourage you to take a lesson from your local PGA professional, but if you go to the range and focus on these 5 fundamentals, I promise your natural athleticism will come out and you will build a great foundation to be a really, really good golfer. We have slide decks on the rules of golf and golf etiquette. They're very important, so be certain to review them carefully so you don't stick out like a sore thumb. It's a social sport. The more you interact, the more you'll enjoy it. Don't be nervous. People don't care as much as you think, so have a good time. When you arrive at the range, stretch your muscles before hitting balls. You can find easy, quick warm-up exercises in our competency section. Once you're warm, start hitting half swings for a few shots and then work from shorter clubs like wedges to longer ones. Your longest club, the driver, should be the one you hit at the end of your practice session. When on a tee box, you must place the ball between the 2 markers and up 2 club lengths behind them, but not in front of them. You can stand outside that area though when addressing the ball. If the ball is teed and you knock it off while addressing it or during a practice swing, you can carry on and replace it without penalty. But if you swing intentionally and it goes only a few inches, it counts as a shot and it's in play. You don't need to use a tee peg on the tee box. It's only the location where you can create a small mound or tuft of grass using the back of your club and then place the ball on top of it for the perfect lie. You should try doing so on par 3 shots where you're hitting irons. Once you've hit 8 shots on a hole, pick up your ball and place it on the green and putt out. You don't want to distract or frustrate your playing partners. If the group behind you is pressing you, let them play through. You'll both enjoy the round more. Get a set of lessons from a PGA pro and use swing options to identify a long-term plan to improve. Sign up for performance coaching. Play with different people as much as you can. You'll learn new and different things. Don't be afraid to play off the front tees. Don't be afraid to play 9 holes only. You'll be able to focus better. And don't be afraid to go out on the course alone when no one is around and practice. You'll learn a lot. And if you become frustrated, remember, it's just a game. Be your own best friend, be positive, and pay attention to what you're telling yourself. Remember, it's fun, challenging sport played in the most beautiful setting. Good shots and low scores will keep you coming back and push you to improve. Golf will bring out the best version of you. Enjoy it. It's the greatest sport. Let us know if we can help.